Hello, everyone. Welcome. I want you to see that when good comes into the world, it comes from another dimension. It appears like out of nowhere, and it touches us, and it has a good effect. It restores, and it lends something good to whatever it touches, and then it's gone. And it comes from another dimension. Christ often said, "Of myself I can do nothing. It is the Father within who does the works." The good came through him. It flowed through him. He was the extension of that good. And I'll give you an example. The difference between studying and realizing. There is no substitute for realizing in God's light to simply see and say, "Oh, I see." And you say it with joy, with awe, with wonder. You see, you understand, and then it's gone. And then what you saw, the good that entered, the inspiration that came from another dimension that touched you, and you realized in God's light something, that imparts something that becomes the basis of more good. But it doesn't leave a memory behind. So a day later, an hour later, you can't remember what it was that you realized. But then later, it comes back when it's appropriate, when there's a need, or when the good Lord would like you to know something. Then there it is again, and this time even deeper and more profound. And then it's gone again. Now let's contrast that with something called study. Study is mostly an unhealthy fixation upon something. We are pressured to study, made to study. And when we do, we're obeying the command of the hypnotist, hypnotists come in many forms, all manner of worldly authorities and teachers and professors and educators and babysitters and loudmouths everywhere. Pressure you to study. And so when you obey their command and you begin to study, you are forced to fixate on something. So you fixate on words on a page, for example, or fixate to their voice. And you know what happens? You get lost in it. Anytime you fixate upon something, you're pulled into the lower realm. You fall away from intuition. You fall away from a carefree state, a blithe, carefree state of being in which you spontaneously realize and discover things. You fall into the intellect, into whatever it is that you're studying, and it becomes a fixation. It captures your attention. And after that, it has the power to capture your attention. After that, their voice, their command, their pressure, their very presence, and the thing that you were forced to study, any of them or all of them have the power to capture your attention. Then you get stuck there. Do you understand? You can literally have someone, I don't want to use names, but you can have someone who's a great scientist. When I say great, I mean great in the eyes of the world. Knowledgeable and has written many things. And he can be an atheist. So he doesn't even realize the most basic thing. He hasn't even gotten to first base. He doesn't see what any little child can see, and yet he's a big intellect. So it's the getting lost in things that separates you from where you can realize and can see. So now do you understand why study is not good? It doesn't mean that you can't take a class or learn something. It just means be careful of study. Be careful of the unhealthy, ambitious, your ambition or someone else's, probably someone else's because they're making you do it. Study, watch out for it. Always stand back, read lightly. See, I can grab a book, I can look at the cover and the back page, I can read a little something, I can fan the pages and suddenly I see something, oh, that's interesting, and that's it. That's all I need. And if I do read, I read lightly, I don't get lost in it. It goes in one ear, so to speak, and out the other. And if there's something of value there, then I notice it. See, any fixation, anytime you're pulled down into the flesh, into the intellect, into the emotions, into things that have captured your attention, then it leaves a memory for sure, a trauma actually. And then your brain is thick and bogged down. Do you understand? But if you realize lightly, see, sometimes I make a radio program and then I say to my son, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what it was about, but it was good. Or I do some writing and then later in the day, I don't remember what I wrote. Or I have a realization early in the morning. I get up, I meditate a little bit. I go sit quietly, do a little tiny bit of reading until I begin to realize, then I realize something. It's beautiful. Then later in the day, I don't remember. And I don't try to remember. Do you see what I mean? I see it, I'm refreshed, I discover something with joy, and then I let it go. And then later, another realization will be there. And then later another. See, it's the realization that comes from God. It touches us, it imparts something good, and then it's gone. Just like Christ said, the wind. The wind blows, he said, and you hear it. You hear the sound of the wind, but you don't know where it came from, and you don't know where it's going. And so it is. And he said, so it is those who are of the kingdom of God. So just want you to see, I hope I made the distinction very, very clear. So when you're standing there with your loved one, one of those little moments where what you say makes a difference, which, it does, doesn't it? If you dredge something up from your intellect, you're dredging up something that you studied, or something someone pressured upon you, or something that you were hypnotized into remembering. Some memory, some trauma, something someone said. And if you dredge that up for whatever reason, then it has no life in it, and it brings nothing new and good in. But if you stand there and you want to do the right thing, you want to say the right thing, but you don't know what the right thing is. You don't know what the right thing to do or say is. You don't even know if anything needs to be said. You stand there, and then all of a sudden, if something comes to you, a look on your face or a word, then it's coming through you from another dimension. It's the good. It's because your intent was pure. You wanted to do the right thing, but you know that you can't do anything good yourself. You know that you don't even know what the good is. And your soul quietly inquires of God, and he answers. And then the good comes from another dimension. It's so beautiful. And they feel it. They see the love. You don't feel anything. It's like nothing. It's like you just said something. For you, it's nothing. But love entered the world. It's so beautiful. So that's what you need to do, is be in touch with your intuition. That's why meditation is so important, the proper meditation. The most important thing is that you want to know the truth. You really and truly want to know the truth. And secondly, if you really and truly do, then you can see that I am striving to help you to be in a state of mind where you can realize the truth. And that state of mind has nothing to do with me. It's simply where you stand back from study. You stand back from the pressure. You stand back from being lost in movies and in music and in people's words. You stand back from your fixation to other people. You stand back, and then with the help of the meditation, you stand back and you learn to access your intuition. And then magic starts to come into your life from another dimension, from the good. And it's beautiful. And then you are amazed. You're awed. You can't believe all the good things. They're coming, and you don't know where they're coming from, but you secretly know that it's from him.